masturbation is healthy. To not masturbate is unhealthy. That's what they say. But there's only been a few studies that explains that masturbation is actually unhealthy. And it has been debunked ever since. I believe that you can go a whole life without masturbation. I've seen monks. I've hung around monks who had been monks since they were young. Now, it does not mean that they had not succumbed to the envy and the desire to masturbate, but you can go for long periods of time without jerking off, without masturbation. Now, this channel is obviously about quitting porn. So I'm not going to talk about porn today. Porn is something that we as men should let go of, should quit altogether. But this video, I want to talk about masturbation. Is it healthy or is it not healthy? Masturbation can be healthy, but not masturbating can be as good or even better than actually masturbating. If you are to become a monk and you don't masturbate, you could reach higher levels of energy, higher levels of meditation, higher levels of insight and wisdom. But it is not for everybody. This channel is not for monks. It's not for ascetics. It's not for people who have given up on the lay people's lifestyle. It is for normal people, laymen and laywomen who want to live their life. If you are a monk or if you aspire to become a monk, I applaud you. More power to you. Obviously, if you are a Hindu monk or a Buddhist monk or any type of monk that take a vow of chastity, you will not masturbate and you can be very healthy without this masturbation. You cannot be the healthiest. But for us laymen, there is a time and place for masturbation. So how often should a man masturbate? Well, first of all, I have to start by saying that obviously I'm talking about masturbation and or having sex, not masturbation and watching porn. If you are a young man in your 20s, if you are a young man in your 20s, you can get away with masturbating a few times a week because you are young. You are at the peak of your vitality and your energy in your 20s. So usually you could masturbate for a few times a week. As you grow older in your 30s, it might be like a once a week or maybe even once every 10 days. When you are around my age, which is 37, going on 40, you might need to do this every 2 weeks, so on and forth. If you get in your 40s, then you masturbate a bit less, maybe every 3 weeks. If you are in your 50s, maybe once a month. In your 60s, maybe once every 75 days. So you see how it works. And I get this framework from Mantak Chiat. He's quite popular on YouTube. And I think he's a sexologist from Chiang Mai, Thailand. He's quite popular. I strongly encourage you to watch those videos. But this is kind of like a framework to know how often you need to masturbate. But it is just a framework. You have to know your body. And when I mean masturbate and having sex, when you decide to release. David Data said that a man should be in control of his ejaculation, not the other way around. The ejaculation should not control him. And ejaculation is a conscious choice, not a compulsory choice. So you should be able to tame your body and understand when you should choose to ejaculate, if you decide to do so. And as I said, I gave you a framework for your age. It does not need to be exactly like that because you have to know your own body. If you have given up porn, it is a bit different because you might want to masturbate more often because you are getting off porn. But I strongly recommend you don't do so. I strongly recommend you have a period of abstinence while you give up porn, which means maybe a month without watching porn and ejaculating would be an amazing feat for you who is given up porn. I'm not saying it's easy, but you need that spirit of abstinence to rewire your brain. And of course, you have lowering your gaze, meditation, and mindfulness, all the things I advocate in this channel to help you do so. Now let's get back to masturbation. once you have given up porn and once you have been abstinent for a while, you can feel it in your body when you feel like you need to release. And you could be with a woman or it could be by yourself. You can do both. The thing here is to understand that as a man, as you grow older, the more you can keep your semen intact inside of you and help it circulate in your body, the better it is for you because semen is the byproduct of this sexual energy we all have inside of us. And this sexual energy is the stuff of genius. So you don't want to waste it. That's why it is very important to cultivate it and use it proficiently, productively to some endeavor that will make you reach your highest potential. And that is why I said that it's really okay if you want to do 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, even 3 months without ejaculating. If you have a purpose and if you need to have this focus, but you don't need it, you don't need to do it as often. You don't need it to do it all the time. And you definitely don't need to be on a semen retention streak for the rest of your life. Honestly, if you are a layman, why are you doing this? You might as well become a monk. Now, to each their own, whatever works for you. But I don't want to be too strict when it comes to semen retention because I feel like a lot of people are more suppressing than and repressing than actually letting go and reaching higher levels of meditation. So that's why you need to be careful. And that's why for most laymen, it is okay to have this kind of framework where you don't ejaculate often, you obviously don't watch porn, but you have a healthy sexual life with yourself and with your woman. And I would go even further. When you have a woman, you don't need to have sex and ejaculate all the time. You can keep this framework, albeit it's not as easy when you are with a woman because you want to ejaculate, but you can train yourself over time. And if you understand that, it will be easier for you to have sex without ejaculating and to let your heart on become as strong as it possibly can to ejaculate again the next time, whether be it 1 week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, whatever works for you. So that is kind of my framework when it comes to how often should a man ejaculate. That is very personal that you need to gauge by yourself. I have to say that a man should not ejaculate every day, even in your 20s. It is important to conserve your sexual energy. And if you're in your 20s and you want to focus, I recommend you jerk off. You ejaculate, you let yourself release every 2 weeks so you can conserve and see how powerful you can be when you are not addicted to your ejaculation. But the addiction to ejaculation is a subject for another video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Sebastian, your addiction recovery coach, and I'm here to help those of you who want to desexualize their mind and quit porn. See you later.